And we are recording. What is up, everybody? This is Jeff from Attack at Random, and we are on episode 5 now. Episode 5 of the podcast. Been going pretty consistent with it. New episode every Sunday, just about whenever I get done with posting or editing, doing what I need to do. Anyways, continuing on here, we got some pretty exciting tech news that's been going on and happening around this week. Some pretty exciting things. One in particular, just kicking off right, is there's a Chinese company. There's a Chinese company that is making humanoid robots, and they're getting ready to push it out in mass production. I know, this is some straight out like Terminator or iRobot or whatever the movie that Will Smith was in. Like straight out of that. Basically, without getting too much into the jargon, there's a company called Unitree, and they're getting ready to release a humanoid robot. They're labeling the Unitree G1. And the crazy part about this is the fact that it's just going to be affordable. This is going to be affordable. This is going to be less than the price of a newish used car. Talking about this robot is going to be priced at $16,000. Yeah, you heard that right. A humanoid robot for less than the cost of a new car. So, what's the big deal about this robot? Well, imagine a robot that can do more than just vacuum your floors. This thing is equipped with 43 joints, like a robotic yoga master. Plus, it has 3D LiDAR and a depth camera, I should say. So it can actually see and navigate around your home, workspace, factory, all that. It's like giving your Roomba superpowers. Imagine if your Roomba just transformed and basically is now walking around, grabbing your vacuum, taking your dog for a walk, lifting up your heavy boxes upstairs, stacking up, These robots will be great in an Amazon warehouse. With all the worsening conditions that people have been complaining about in an Amazon warehouse facility, get some of the terrible jobs, give it to these robots, and let them do it. What makes this even cooler is this the fact that this robot isn't just showing off at tech conventions. The folks over at Unitree Robotics, they're ramping up to mass produce these robots. We're talking about a future where robots could be as common as your smartphone. Except, they can climb stairs without being out of breath. So whether you need help in a factory, research lab, or even at home, these little guys might just become your new best friend. Imagine carrying your groceries, or maybe even giving your cat a run for its money when it comes to agility. Like I said, walking your dog, helping you troubleshoot your computer, murdering your neighbor, running a marathon on your behalf. I don't know. And possibilities are endless. It can help take down your computer, troubleshoot it, destroy the evil printer that's been bugging you and not wanting to print for the last 3 days, destroy the HP printer. Again, this thing is going to be priced at $16,000. $16,000. That is less than importing a car from Japan. I know, because I've looked. I've been trying to import a Toyota Supra from Japan, and these cars are running about $20,000 or more. That's just for the Toyota Supra. Of course, there's other cars that are cheaper, the Toyota Presidents or is it the Nissan President? I don't know. Or you can import a Honda Beat for about the same price or even less. But yeah, no, I want the Toyota Supra. And we're talking about $20,000+. Yeah. Did I say that right? Yeah. $20,000 or more is what I was trying to say. So we're talking about a humanoid robot that can do a lot of things, help you out around the house, carry you up the stairs because you're too lazy and or drunk from, the weekend, and just be an overall help. Now, do these things have the potential to be hacked? Possibly. Who knows? Then at that point, we're getting into the situation of like iRobot, we're gonna have to start fighting back. Then we're gonna go into like a whole Terminator vibe thing, and there's just a downward spiral that could potentially happen. I don't know. I'm not a huge expert. I'm just relaying the news to you. So, this could lead into a grim dark future, or this could be great. We can, work something out. Be buddy buddies with these robots. So, with a robot that's going to be priced at $16,000, what is something that you guys would do with this robot? Yeah, so this robot is only going to be about 4.33 feet tall. So it's not going to be a super tall thing. Think of your own little... I keep drawing a blank on the Disney character's name from... Amiibo? I don't know. Amiibo? Boba Fett? Emo. Is it Bimo? Emo? God damn, I'm drawing a blank and I have to look it up now. Baymax. Was it Baymax? Yeah, it was Baymax. It was Baymax. That is what I was trying to say. Think of your own Big Hero 6. God, I butchered that so fucking bad. But yeah, think of Big Hero 6 Baymax, but not as, not as big or marshmallowy. So you got this 4 foot tall little robot walking around doing certain things to help you out. Flip your pancakes, make you breakfast, solder a, motherboard. The possibilities are endless when you can afford a robot at $16,000. You know the things that I would do with it? I honestly would just have it be my companion. It's going to go with me everywhere. It's going to help me troubleshoot any sort of problems I have during, my working hours. It's going to help me lift up this goddamn desk that I have and be able to adjust it properly. And or it's going to go after like one of the neighbors whenever I have a problem with them. But yeah, even has like a 5-watt stereo speaker for responses. Like it's going to be able to talk back to you. The joints offer 23 degrees of freedom. And in total, the humanoid can amble along up to 4.5 miles an hour. So it's not going to be a super fast thing, but 4 miles an hour is still nothing to talk about. So this thing is going to be going into mass production. Who knows? China might start integrating this into their military. And then bada bing, bada boom. Mr. Worldwide, step into the room, dale. We're gonna have to be going up against China and their robot army. This is gonna lead into the whole Gundam situation. China's gonna start developing bigger and badder robots. US is gonna have to compete, and then we're all due. This is gonna turn into the Gundam situation or scenario. And so, in a world where we're constantly getting, not us as a people, but where companies are just constantly getting hacked, we have another story that just came across my timeline this coming week. Toyota, the company that is famous for reliable cars, just had a little reliability issue themselves. Well, at least when it comes to keeping your data safe. So here's what happened. Toyota recently found out that a bunch of sensitive info that includes customer and employee data just got exposed. But the thing is, it wasn't even their fault. Not directly, anyway. So the bad guys got in through a third-party service. It's kind of like your neighbor leaving their gate open and blaming you when their dog gets out. A quote from this article that I've been reading, Toyota confirmed that the breach occurred through a third-party entity, not their own system, impacting customer and employee data. And they haven't fully released the name of the third-party entity. And this could be because of some ongoing legal issues. They're probably still investigating. Who knows? But they haven't released the name of the third party. So it brings us to our first point. Third-party vendors can be a double-edged sword. Yeah, they can make life easier for companies, just like that drive-through coffee when you're running late, but sometimes they spill your coffee all over the place. And that's what happened here. So a whopping 240 gigs of data was exposed, and if you were to print out all of that data and stack it up, that shit would be taller than Godzilla. So the villains of the story is a hacking group known as 07 Group. I don't know what it is with all these hacking groups sounding like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie or a bunch of secret agents using code names. I don't know. It is what it is. But these folks apparently used a tool called AD Recon to snatch the data. So another quote from the article is, the Group 07 Group claimed responsibility using the tool to gather data. And this leads me to my next point. Hackers are getting smarter. It's no longer about just avoiding those obvious, phishing email scams or the common email scam from the Nigerian prince. No. These guys are using high-tech tools to break into the networks, like a cat burglar with a PhD in computer science. Now, here's a bit of a head-scratcher. The data was actually stolen around Christmas of 2022. Merry Christmas, I guess. But we're only hearing about this now. It's like getting a belated holiday card that says, hey, sorry, but we lost your data. All about timing, I guess. So speaking of timing, Toyota's had a bit of a rough go in the security department lately. This isn't their first rodeo with breaches, which makes you wonder, are they learning from these incidents or are they just crossing their fingers and hoping for the best? It's like watching someone burn dinner every night, but still thinking, tonight's the night, well, it'll be perfect. And it never is. Learn how to cook. Be a better cook. There's plenty of YouTube videos about it. There's no reason why you should be burning dinner. You shouldn't be burning anything. Unless, have the stove on too high and you just got distracted. Either way, you shouldn't be burning your food at all. Pay attention to what you're doing. Stop burning shit. Lastly, Toyota's been pretty tight-lipped about which third-party vendor was involved and exactly how many people were affected. They're keeping things on the hush-hush. Not many people are liking this, per se, but there could be many factors at play. And who's to say if they're not trying to go after the third party in terms of legal ramifications? So, again, to wrap this up, this Toyota breach is a reminder that even the biggest, most reliable companies can hit a few potholes along the way, especially when third parties are involved. It also shows that cyber criminals are getting craftier. Companies need to stay on their toes or risk tripping over them. And as always, a little more honesty and transparency from these companies would go a long fucking way. With multiple companies getting hacked and data is being breached, I cannot stress the importance of having good cybersecurity infrastructure in place, whether you're in business, well, mostly for a lot of these bigger businesses or even small businesses. Having a good cybersecurity infrastructure in place and training in terms of being able to spot certain phishing scams and just having the general knowledge of cybersecurity is important. Cannot stress that enough. This is a big deal. Companies have been losing too many people's data, putting a lot of the average folks at risk. And we just had the social security hack not so long ago. This Toyota thing isn't as big as the social security, but there's still a lot of important information that was leaked and compromised. Again, a lot of customer and employee data, which this is including what was it was like financial statements and everything that was compromised. So yeah, it's including, this is more than just emails or names. It's including contracts, financial records, and details about Toyota's network infrastructure. So not only that your network infrastructure get compromised, they know a lot of the customers, like emails, contracts, personal information, even have access to the social security information again. But they also got financial records, how much money this person spent, and this and that. And now that they're going to be able to hack your car using the mileage that's on your dash. It's a fucking joke. I know that was a terrible joke. Nobody's gonna hack your car using your mileage that's on the dashboard. I brought that up because I remembered seeing a post about it of someone covering their mileage on their dash because they said that somebody can hack their car using that number. Spoiler alert, you cannot. Nobody's going to hack your car. At least if you're driving a normal car and not a Tesla, because Teslas, I probably will get shut down by Elon Musk by this. Teslas are, in terms of a vehicle, they're not that great. The weight of the car and just the overall make of the vehicle in terms of how it's manufactured is not great. Look at all the Cybertrucks that have been stuck on the side of the road, all the problems that they've been having. Most common problems with Teslas is the fact that the control arms tend to break after a couple thousand miles because of how heavy this goddamn car is. Not to mention that there's not a lot of charging stations all throughout the United States. So if you're going to plan a trip, you have to plan accordingly to the locations of the superchargers. And that's only if you're driving a Tesla. If you're driving any other sort of EV vehicle, you're probably out of luck too, because Tesla, I believe it was allegedly, I'm not 100% sure, so people can correct me on this, but the Tesla charging stations aren't always compatible with other electric vehicles. And that causes a problem because, if you're driving a vehicle very, very long distance and you're nowhere near a compatible charging station, then boom, you're probably just shit out of luck. Or I think if I'm wrong, it could be that the charging station is compatible with the EV, but you're paying a little bit more. Granted, you're probably still paying less than, fossil fuel or petrol, however you want to discuss it or call it. But, there's still that problem where there's not enough these charging stations to be able to sustain a large fleet of these type of vehicles. Not to mention also the fact that you're going to be at this charging station for at least 20-30 minutes to get like a good decent amount of charge. But if you want it to be fully charged, you're probably spending an hour and a half, 2 hours just sitting there waiting for this thing to charge. So the rate of speed where these vehicles are charging may not be fast for some of the common folk, if you will. Either way, that is my rants for Tesla and their charging stations, how terrible their vehicles are. I'm also upset that we never got the Hyperloop, and I think Elon Musk mentioned that it's not going to happen. Yeah, the Hyperloop is probably never going to happen. What we really need, the goddamn United States, is speed train or speed bullet train or hypersonic train. I don't know. The United States is definitely a country that can benefit tremendously. And I've talked about this with so many of my friends. But the fact that the United States is a massive car and oil manufacturing type of country and they dominate the market is the reason why we don't have high-speed trains. We had high-speed rail trains like they do in Japan, Europe, and a bunch of these other countries. We'd be able to travel to so many different states in record amount of time. Imagine living in New York City thinking, hey, let's go to the beach for a weekend, hop on a train, get to Miami in like 2 or 3 hours, and then boom, you're right at the beach. Or be like, yo, let's go to Cali, let's go to Colorado, let's do sun, let's go out to the West Coast. Be there in like 4 or 5 hours on a train. Because of the sheer size of the United States and all the different states, we really need high-speed rails. It'd be way more convenient for the people. Things can get done tremendously. Hell, it might even create some more jobs. But the United States definitely needs some high-speed rails. And also, I just like traveling on train. Quite me. So there's been a lot of rumors speculating on the next up-and-coming iPhone, Apple Watch, MacBooks, and things of that nature. So first off, talking about the big one, the iPhone 16. So Apple's rumored to hold a launch event on September 10th. And if Mark Gundam from Bloomberg is anything to go by, we're in for some pretty cool updates. So some of the things that are new with this coming updates, the Pro models are getting bigger screens. Imagine your phone getting a little extra space, kind of like upgrading from a tiny notebook to a big, roomy sketch pad. The Pro might go from a 6.1 inch to 6.3 inches, and the Pro Max jumps from a whopping jumps to a whopping 6.9 inches. So more screen real estate means more stuff to look at, whether you're scrolling through memes or just pretending to work during a Zoom call. And get this, there's gonna even be a dedicated camera button, because apparently the regular button wasn't enough. So maybe Apple was just thinking like, hey, these people suck at taking selfies. Let's give them a button to make sure that they hit it, right. They're not just fumbling around on the screen trying to tap in, messing up their angles and shit. Or maybe they just want to give the camera button its own spotlight. Either way, kind of a cool addition for those photographers that like to take photos with their iPhones. Also, there are rumors speculating about the next Apple Watch series, the Series 10. If you're like me and wear your watch more like a fashion statement than a fitness tracker, you're gonna love this. The new Series 10 is supposed to be thinner, but with a bigger screen. So it's like getting a slimmer wallet, but with more room for your cards, which is more useful. A thinner watch screen with a larger display means it should look sleeker on your wrist and give you more space to check your notifications, track your steps, or look at your watch while you silently judge your friend for making a cringe-ass joke. We've all been there. It happens. You don't want to acknowledge it. We're just like, let me scroll on my watch real quick. Nobody wants to acknowledge it. They just want to move past it, and so they just pretend to be like, oh, look, I got a notification on my watch. Plus, it's always nice when a tech gets a little more comfortable to wear. We're also getting some new stuff about the AirPods. So the AirPods might be introducing 2 new sets this time around. They're blending the styles of the 3rd generation AirPods and the AirPods Pro. So think of it as getting the best of both worlds, like having your cake and being able to eat it too, without having to worry about the calories. But here's the kicker with that. One of the new sets might finally get active noise cancellation. That means no more accidentally eavesdropping on your neighbor's conversation or missing out on that sweet silence. It's like giving your ears a pair of noise canceling superhero capes. Perfect when you're trying to zone out during a boring lecture, or just trying to get some peace while working from home, or just wanting to zone out and just forget about everybody while you're trying to hit that PR on that bench press. 225, my God, 225. And we're also getting some updates for all of the MacBook fans out there. So Apple might not launch these at the same events, but they're working on new MacBook Pro models powered by the next gen M4 chips. If you're not familiar with these chip upgrades, think of it giving your laptop a brand new brain that's even faster and smarter than the previous one. So some developer logs are showing 4 different versions in testing, all with either 16 gig or 32 gigs of memory. So whether you're editing videos, designing graphics, or just keeping up with all your open tabs, these new MacBooks could be a game changer. Your computer won't be as slow as my old Honda Civic that goes 0 to 60 in like 3.5 minutes. Yeah, I'm coming at Hondas. Even though I had one, I love them though. But that's beside the point. But it's just not about the hardware upgrades. Apple is also diving deep into software with the new AI features set to roll out with iOS 18.1. This is something I've talked about in, I think, episode 2 or 3, one of those. Think of AI as your phone getting a little smarter, like having a personal assistant that actually listens, or maybe even anticipate your needs. So this new feature could make your iPhone more helpful, whether it's predicting what you're going to type next, suggesting apps that you might like, or just making Siri a little bit more sassy because Siri is getting tired of you cursing at her whenever you're trying to tell her to open Apple Music or play a certain song. We've all been there. We've all done it. We've all said, fuck you, after, Siri has made or accepted your request or query or whatever. Or Siri will start talking, we just tell them shut the fuck up. We all do it, whether it be with Alexa or Google, we all do this. And if you say you don't, you're a goddamn liar. There's also hints about what's going to be coming in the future with this. So while we're all excited for the new iPhone 16, some reports that next year could bring something even cooler. There's reports and rumors going around that you might be getting a iPhone 17 Slim. Imagine a phone that's even slimmer and lighter making it easier to slip into your pocket without feeling like you've got a brick in there, or a phone that's so slim that it slips out of your pocket and falls in between the cracks of the car seat and the car door, and you're just fumbling, trying to squeeze your hand into the gap, trying to pull the phone out. You can't because your hand is too fat, too big, and the phone is too slim. So that is a possibility of what could happen. Well, yeah, that's kind of the rumors of what's been going on with Apple right now. There's an event coming on, possibly showing off the iPhone 16, and then the next year we're going to get the iPhone 17. Let me know your thoughts on this. Are you excited? Are you a huge Apple fanatic? Have the current iPhones? Do you have any previous iPhones? What do you think about this upcoming change? In terms of hardware, it's probably still going to be the same. We're most likely just getting a bigger screen, maybe a slightly updated camera, but overall, we're probably going to get much of the same in terms of the iPhones. I'm excited about the AirPods. I actually like the AirPod Pros. Not a huge fan of the normal ones, but I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out. In terms of, or speaking on the MacBook, I haven't owned a MacBook just yet. I've worked with some, but I want to see how this MacBook Pro comes out. I want to see how the M4 chip is going to react. And I want to see it put under a lot of stress in terms of video editing. This might make or break it for me to be able to get this MacBook Pro so I can edit videos on the go and maybe even record podcasts on the go. Who knows? We'll see what happens. So while we're on the topic of seeing what happens and fucking around and finding out, Black Myth Wukong just dropped this past week, and already within 3 days, it's sold over 10 million copies. 10 million copies? Yeah. Selling over 10 million copies in just 3 days. I know there was a lot of sort of speculation of whether or not this game is going to be hype or good, but the fan reviews and the overall just public review of this game has been great. It's really showing that there is a demand or need for a single player narrative driven game. Not everybody has time or want to play a highly competitive multiplayer game. Yeah, it's fun here and there, but some people just want to come home, want to relax. They don't want to be stressed out over a game. They just want a nice, chill, narrative game. And yeah, it's been unreal of how amazing this launch of this game has been. It exploded onto the scene, and yeah, like I said, just in 3 days, it sold over 10 million copies. So that's like every person in New York City buying the game and then some. It's the kind of success that makes other game developers just cry into their keyboards because they can't do it to the level that these people are doing. But seriously, this isn't just about numbers. It's a sign that players are craving this. We want something epic. We want something that's going to deliver a highly interactive narrative. We want something that's going to engage us. We want to be sucked into the story. And Black Myth Wukong has delivered in spades. But it's not just China that's going bananas over this game. Bananas. Get it? Monkey King. Bananas? No. Terrible. Alright. I apologize for that terrible pun. No, I don't. Fuck you. So, Black Myth Wukong has gone global. And why wouldn't it? The story of Sun Wukong, Monkey King, is one of the coolest legends ever, honestly. This dude fought 10,000. Was it 10,000 or 100,000? Or I think it was 10,000 celestial soldiers. And by celestial, these soldiers had the body of cosmos, where they're made out of stars and everything like that. And Wukong soloed every single one of these. The Legend of Sun Wukong is just a really, really cool story overall. It inspired so many characters that we know today. One in particular is Goku from Dragon Ball Z. The original Dragon Ball story revolved around somewhat similarities to Journey of the West. We have the Monkey King, Sun Wukong, have similar abilities to Goku when a kid. They have the tail. They even have a staff that extends to tremendous lengths. You know, yeah, I remember the power pole. I do. Yeah, I remember the Nimbus. Wukong flies around on a cloud. That's an ability they developed or something like that. And he basically flies around on a Nimbus. And the fact that this game is getting the treatment that it deserves is truly amazing. The game does an amazing job of blending Chinese mythology with gameplay that's as smooth as butter. It's like taking a cultural deep dive into one of the world's most fascinating stories while kicking some serious ass along the way. Gameplay is smooth. I know there's been a lot of people speculating that this was going to be a Souls-like game, and while in certain aspects it is, or kind of, it's really not. It's a big action RPG. The best way I can describe this game is there's a lot of similarities to God of War Ragnarok in terms of gameplay. This is a very heavy action-based RPG sort of game with some Souls-like elements to it. I know I said back in episode 4 that this game was going to tend to be more Souls-like, but I'm now seeing some of the gameplay, playing a little bit myself. It's really not. It's really not a Souls-like. Like I said, there's some elements to it, but you can classify this more as an action RPG. But this game, it's like taking a cultural deep dive into the world's most fascinating stories while kicking serious ass along the way. I already said that. We're cutting this out. So now let's talk about the monkey in the room. The graphics, and by God, this game is gorgeous. The level of detail is fucking insane. I mean, you can see every single hair on Son Wukong's head. And the environments it's just absolutely breathtaking. It's like someone took the best parts of a nature documentary and a fantasy epic, threw them all in a blender, snorted a line of cocaine, and just spat everything at you. Not to mention the sound design is impressive. Every swing of the staff, every roar of the monster, it's all crafted to make you feel like you're right there in the action. But Black Myth Wukong isn't just about the eye candy. It's a cultural powerhouse. This game is putting Chinese mythology on a global stage in a way that it hasn't really been done before. For a lot of players outside of China, this might be their first real exposure to the legend of the Monkey King. And it's a pretty epic introduction if you ask me. It's like when we all first saw, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or any Bruce Lee movie, or for those that wanted something comedy-based, Kung Fu Hustle. It made us all want to learn Kung Fu and explore the cultural significance of martial arts and things like that. And this game is doing that for Chinese folklore. That's fucking cool as fuck. So, talking about how this game managed to get everyone's attention before it even launched, the hype for Black Myth Wukong was running at full speeds thanks to some seriously slick marketing. You remember the first trailer that dropped? Everyone's jaws just on the floor when that trailer hit the internet. There were even like those sneak peeks, developer diaries, and it had just the right amount of social media buzz. They didn't overdo it. It gave us just enough to keep us hungry, and bam, day one, billions of copies sold. That's some next level marketing shit right there. So what's next for Black Myth? I don't know. I mean, with a success like this, you can bet that they're gonna be going to see. We're gonna see that. You can bet that we're gonna see more of this game in the future. Possible sequels, maybe some DLC expansions, spin-offs. Who knows? At this point, the sky is gonna be the limit for these guys, and I honestly can't wait to see where they take the story next. Maybe we get some more Chinese mythology games, or this might even branch out to start exploring other cultures in terms of video games. I know there's a common trope within the video game industry that the most cultural mythologies that are explored are either Greek or Nordic. But there's so many other cultures out there with some amazing folklore. We should honestly explore and do right by them. So Song Wukong's adventures, they're far from over. And neither are our time in this amazing world. So I'm hoping to see some sort of sequel or DLC in the future. This game is truly breathtaking. It's a breath of fresh air. And this is a huge dub for game science. I hope they continue to make great games like this. And I want to see more amazing cultural games come out. All right, last thing that I really want to talk about that is kind of near and dear to my heart because it is one of my favorite series. On Friday, August 23rd, there was a event that happened, and Bandai Namco, Pokemans. Anyways, there was an event that happened, and we got a new entry to the legendary Gundam franchise. And I think this is gonna change some people's narratives about VR. The reason why I say that is because we were treated to the first trailer for Gundam Silver Phantom. It's got people buzzing about it. So it's going to be dropping October 3rd of this year, 2024. But what's really going to set this Gundam series apart is that it's not your typical anime. It's not even a video game either. So Gundam Silver Phantom is a feature-length film, but it's a VR experience. That's why I said the whole VR thing before. And it's exclusively going to be for the Meta Quest 2 and 3. So it's not just an anime or a movie or anything like that. It's going to be an immersive adventure. It's going to put you right in the pilot seat of a Gundam. So talking about a little bit about the creative force behind this project, the anime is going to be directed by Kenichi Suzuki, which some Gundam fans might recognize this name. The script is penned by Ryoji Sekinishi. I'm probably butchering the names, and I apologize about that. The character designs are in the capable hands of Tsukasa Kotobuki. Again, I'm probably butchering the fuck out of these. But either way, these guys are all veterans who have worked on various Gundam projects in the past. So, the quality of this is going to be top notch. Now, for those that aren't, So for those of you that are familiar with the Gundam timeline, Silver Phantom is set in the Universal Century 0096. And that is the same era as Gundam Unicorn. So this continuity ensures that we're gonna have a rich narrative that's gonna be deeply tied to the lore that we all love. So expect to see some familiar elements, but there's gonna be a lot of fresh, modern twists because of this VR integration. One of the most intriguing things about this project is that it marks Sunrise's first collaboration with Atlas V, and Atlas is a French company known for its expertise in immersive content. This international partnership could mean that we're in for some sort of truly groundbreaking storytelling. It's gonna be blending the best of Japanese anime tradition with cutting-edge Western VR technology. So this is gonna be really dope in my opinion, if it's done correctly. I'm gonna be playing some clips of the trailer here, but it puts you in the seat of the protagonist for the film, according to the trailer. And there's parts of it where to see you're, messing around with the Gundam figures, shooting things in a sort of VR within a VR environment. Overall, it looks really cool. You can see the protagonist getting into the pilot seat of a Gundam, having space battles, and this is gonna live up to a lot of people's people's I guess fantasy or dream of wanting to be a Gundam pilot. Because let's be real, who doesn't want to pilot a massive 20-foot tall or however tall a Gundam is? I come drawing a blank on it. But who doesn't want to just be a pilot of a giant robot and just shoot shit in space, you know? Just blow shit up. You know, it's not just about the action part of it. We're also going to have that deep narrative storytelling that most Gundam series are known for. I say most because most Gundam series don't really have a huge or deep storytelling. The reason why I say that is because I believe it was G Gundam or SD Gundam. I think it was SD Gundam that it was not the best in terms of storytelling. And then we also have a lot of we also have some Gundam series that were just way over the top and dramatic. Speaking of particularly in regards to Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing was just a massive telenovela of a Gundam series. There was so much drama everywhere, so much angst. But I love it. I love Gundam Wing. Gundam Death Scythe is one of my favorite ones. But yeah, I digress. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for a potential, or not potential, are you guys excited for a VR Gundam movie? I can foresee this causing some motion sickness because if it's going to be a feature-length film, this is probably going to be like an hour, 2 hours. And I know VR is still not the best when it comes to certain for playing prolonged periods of time, I should say. But it is going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting to see how this is. I'm excited to try this out. I'm probably going to steal somebody, not steal, but I'm going to borrow someone's VR headset to be able to try this out. I want to experience this firsthand, not just because I wanted to be a Gundam pilot. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Who are you to judge me? That is it for episode 5 of the Attack at Random podcast. I appreciate everybody that's been sticking with me. If you have been listening since episode 1, or even listening to the Prius, Toyota. Even if you've been listening to the previous episodes before we did the soft reboot, thank you for sticking by and continuing to listen. Check out the links down below, the Entertainment Earth link, some of the other ones. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, anything. Keep tabs on us. Keep liking, subscribing. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do stuff. Make sure that we know that you're here, you're paying attention. And it's not just my friends listening in. So yeah. Peace. I am out of here, guys.